Hello and welcome to today's deep dive. We live in an era of data. Businesses today collect, analyze, and often profit from an incredible amount of personal information. But what happens when the boundaries are crossed, when privacy is violated, and when data is used not just unwisely but unethically? We are going to discuss the perils of data misuse in uncharted territories and its real-world consequences. Let's start with the basics. By using personal data, businesses can gain insights into consumer behavior and preferences. This can lead to better products and services. However, things turn problematic when businesses misuse personal data or commit privacy law violations. Violations range from failing to secure proper consent, sharing data with third parties without approval, or failing to protect personal data adequately. Data breaches are often the visible consequence of these violations. The world over, we've seen incidents like these have catastrophic effects. Let's take a look at two incidents in South Africa. In 2020, South Africa faced a significant data breach where sensitive information of millions of citizens and 800,000 businesses were exposed. One of the country's largest credit bureaus, Experian, was hit by a cyber attack. Experian collects credit information about consumers from banks, retailers, and other parties. That means that even if you haven't interacted with Experian, your personal details and financial history may have been compromised. If so, you may be vulnerable to having your identity impersonated. In another incident, cybercriminals stole data from Liberty Holdings, a leading insurance company in South Africa, affecting over 1 million clients. It resulted in substantial financial penalties and severe reputational damage. These occurrences are not exclusive to South Africa. They pervade numerous low and middle income nations. Data protection laws and regulations in these countries may be weaker or inadequately enforced, rendering individuals exceedingly susceptible to exploitation and mistreatment. In India, for example, the government's Aadhaar scheme, the world's largest biometric identity program, faced a massive data leak. And in Brazil, a massive data breach affected over 200 million citizens. In both cases, the compromised data was sold on the dark web, leading to identity theft and fraudulent activities. But data misuse is not limited to just data breaches. Companies have found other deceptive ways to misuse personal data. Dark patterns are one such tactic. This useful article by The Verge exposes some dark patterns and also gives us a sense into what dark patterns are. A dark pattern is a user interface carefully crafted to trick users into doing things they might not otherwise do, such as buying insurance with their purchase or signing up for recurring bills. Normally, when you think of bad design, you think of the creator as being sloppy or lazy, but without ill intent. Dark patterns, on the other hand, are not mistakes. They are carefully crafted with a solid understanding of human psychology, and they do not have the user's interest in mind. For example, in South Africa, telecommunications company MTN was found guilty of using dark patterns to trick customers into subscribing to certain services. On the other hand, or in a different way, price discrimination is another potentially unethical strategy. Companies charge different prices for the same product based on personal attributes. When sellers are able to discriminate against their captive customers, consumers tend to be harmed overall. And then there's the misuse of personal data in the financial services sector. In Ghana, mobile money companies were found to be exploiting users' personal data without consent, promoting loans and financial products. And in Kenya, several mobile money lending apps were found to be collecting users' personal data without their knowledge or consent. The data was then used to make lending decisions, causing privacy violations and exploitation. From these examples, it's clear that the misuse of personal data is a global issue. It's not just about big tech companies failing to protect sensitive data. It's also about smaller entities deceiving and exploiting users, especially in low and middle income countries where data protection laws may be weaker. So, what's the way forward, you ask? Businesses must prioritize data privacy, not just for their legal protection, but also for ethical conduct. And governments are complicit too. For governments, strong data protection laws are essential to safeguard individuals regardless of their location or income. Regulatory bodies and stakeholders must work together to address these challenges and promote a culture of responsible data usage. In conclusion, the misuse of personal data by businesses is a pressing issue that requires immediate attention. It's a shared responsibility to ensure that personal data is used ethically and within the boundaries of the law. This is a call to action for governments, businesses, and individuals alike. Together, we can build a digital world where personal data is respected and protected.